artists, this is for the low back pain from a bunch of sitting. So you can start by placing your hands on your knees, arch your back forward, letting your heart come through your hands, and then arch backwards. Really push this part of your back, and then arch forward, really lift here from your heart, and back. Next, you can hold on to your chair, bring your hand to your knee, and then look away. Take a deep breath in. When you take a deep breath in, think of your spine getting taller. And then as you exhale, twist your body away further. Deep breath in and twist. Deep breath in and twist. And you can do this on both sides. All right, artists, this is going to be some soft tissue work that you can do for your calves. So I'm using a lacrosse ball and a yoga block. You can use books, it doesn't really matter, it just, the ball needs to be elevated or you won't feel the soft tissue work as well. So you elevate the ball on some books or a block, and then you basically just roll out. You can also windshield wiper your leg, or just do ankle movement, ankle circles or flexions and extensions. If you find a spot that's really particularly sharp, you can just hang out there and breathe through it, or you can just do some little micro rolling like that to work whatever area feels like it needs some attention, oxygen, and new blood. Okay, this stretch is going to be for your hip flexors and for your quads. Also, if you stretch this area, it also tends to alleviate some low back discomfort. So go ahead and grab onto your ankle. And when you're in this position, push the pubic bone forward so that you don't end up piked like this. And push the pubic bone forward or up towards your belly button and breathe. You can hold for a few seconds and then do the other side. This is going to be a hip flexor stretch. And so once you're in this position, you want to make sure that your ankle is right underneath your knee and that your knee, your hip, and your shoulder are in a line. You don't want to be angled forward or too far back. Just nice and straight from the knee to the ankle, from knee, hip, shoulder. So here you want to let your low back elongate and bring your pubic bone up towards the ceiling so that you start building the tension into this part of the leg. Once you feel that, maintain the push down and the pull up here, and then just let your knee go forward a little bit. And that should give you a really nice stretch into the hip flexors. Okay, artists, this stretch is going to be for your obliques. The obliques form a basket weave-like pattern on either side of your trunk. So we have to add a rotation to the stretch. So first, turn to one side, use your opposite hand to support your back, and then stretch your waist open here. Come back, then rotate to the opposite side, and then spread here. So you're focusing more on spreading this way. You're not focusing as much on crunching down. Same thing for the other side. Reach and stretch, rotate and stretch. All right, this next stretch is going to be for the back of your hip. So I'm using these two pillows here. You can use more or you can use less. I find that the height helps me get to the stretch a little bit deeper. So I cross this leg, and then I bring the leg that I'm trying to stretch over across the knee. From this position, I make sure that I'm sitting very tall, and then I hug my knee, and I try to bring my knee close to the opposite shoulder. So almost like I'm trying to hug the knee in. This creates a really long spine and a hug in, and it'll focus the stretch here. If your back is arched, you won't get the same effect. So sit up nice and tall, that's why we're using the pillows, so you can focus the stretch on the back of your hip. Hi artists. So one of the requests has been for neck stuff. People's necks are really hurting with all this working from home. So I'm going to show you how to do instrument assisted soft tissue work on your own neck. In Chinese medicine, gua sha tools are what's used. You can look these up online and order them. This is a beautiful rose quartz one given to me by my friend Hannah. But if you don't have something like that, you can also use the back end of a fork or a knife or a spoon. And you just want to be using the non-serrated sides. So this is just coconut oil. So I'm going to use a little bit of coconut oil. And I'm going to spread that on my neck all the way into the parts that I want to be working on. And then very gently you start with just applying pressure and gliding over the skin. All right, so here you can go all the way up like into your hairline and apply some pressure there. You can come down onto the side here. There's a few places you do not want to apply pressure. There's a triangle here that's very important. There's a lot of nerve endings. A lot of nerves and blood vessels that travel through here. So just don't go forward of this muscle. This is bone, so that won't feel very comfortable. You just want to stay in the back part, right on the muscle there. And the other thing you can do is you can also apply pressure and then move your neck side to side while you're doing it. Or almost like the gesture for saying no. All right, artists, this will be a stretch for your neck. So I sit on my hand, I tilt my head away, and then I lean a little bit. That should already start giving you a stretch here. From there, I just place my hand on my head for a little bit extra weight, but I don't pull on it. From there, you can stay there and take maybe 3 or 4 breaths, or you can look down, take a few breaths there, look up, take a few breaths there. The thing about moving your neck is that you can find whatever strands of muscle feel most distressed, and then you can take a few deep breaths into that. All right, artists, the next thing we're going to do are called shoulder squares. So when your neck is really, really tight, one of the things that I try to consider is that a lot of the muscles in the upper part of the trunk have probably been stiff and not moving very much. So if we bring oxygen, blood flow, nutrients into that area, it can give a lot of relief to the neck. So these are called shoulder squares. So you push your shoulders forward, go up as high as you can, keep them up as high as you can, and then pull back without reacting at your ribs. Then from there, push them down as far as you can. Now stay as far down as you can and let them go forward. Let them stay forward, go up. Let them stay up, go back. Let them stay back and go down. Repeat this in both directions to get a lot of blood flow into those muscles. All right, artists, for any of you that are having foot soreness, you can use any ball. I like to use the Lacrosse balls because they're a little bit more firm. But you can place your foot on a ball and then applying whatever pressure feels good to you. You can start by spreading your foot around it, especially if you're having some tightness and soreness here on the outer part of the foot. I like to spend a little bit more time there. You can even roll. You can also apply pressure directly on and move forward and back. The really great thing about this is that you can determine how much pressure you want on the ball by either placing more of your weight on the ball or less, or putting your heel down and just applying pressure this way. All right, so now to get some soft tissue work into your calves, you can place a ball on a stack of books, and then you can either roll forward and back. You can just apply pressure where you're at, or you can flex and extend the leg. You can move the ball around to whatever area you feel needs more of the work. And it's totally fine to just sit and apply pressure if it's feeling really tender. and then do some micro rolling, or or then get in there and do much bigger rolling to get the areas that are tender for you. Here's a series of 3 stretches for the calves. The first one, if you bring your foot up, either you can do this at a door jamb or on some furniture, and then from there just bend the knee forward. It will give you a really big stretch here. Another thing you can do is bring your knee forward to touch. You want to make sure that your heel stays on the ground and that your foot is far enough away from the surface so that you get a really nice stretch on the back of your calves there. Or here, this time we're stretching the leg in the back. Keep the knee completely straight. Bend the front leg so that you feel a stretch in the back of the calf. Hi artists. So the question that I was asked was, if your hands are sore, how can you work on your hands and your forearms without making that worse? So if you have a ball, tennis ball, lacrosse ball, golf ball, you can place that on a surface and you can roll onto your forearms this way. So you can get pretty close, but I wouldn't go right over the area of the wrist. There's a lot of tendons and blood vessels and nerves that travel through there. So you can go on either side of it. You can also turn it in the other direction and go that way. And you can think of the ball as like a juicer. So you can place the ball in your palm and press into your palm that way. And you can roll onto the areas right by your thumb and over on the side by your pinky. So next I'm going to show you one of my favorite ways to work on my hand. If you have a ball, I basically interlace my fingers, squeeze the ball, and rub. So you can focus on the area over by your pinkies and rub there, or here at the base of your thumb and rub into it. You can, of course, also just pause and press into the hands and press into the palms. But I find, especially after I've done a lot of work with my hands, with tools, or if they're just feeling kind of achy and sore, that's a really nice way of addressing that discomfort. All right. So if you want to be doing a little bit of soft tissue work on your own forearms, I'm using a fork here, and I'm using the handle part of the fork, and I just scoop out a little bit of coconut oil and spread that all around. And a lot of people get soreness up here by the elbow. The only thing here is you have to be careful. There's a lot of bony areas there, so you want to avoid that and only be going over the soft muscle part. And you can go all the way to the wrist. You can also turn it over and do the same on the other side. If you find any spots that feel like they need particular energy, you can also curl your fingers while you're doing it, or strum your fingers this way, but that should really help get into those areas that are feeling a little bit sore. All right, artists, so here's a quick stretch for your hands. These are called finger splits. So first you try to stretch your thumb away from your index finger, then your index finger away from your middle finger finger away from your ring finger, your pinky away from your ring finger, and then you reverse. Your pinky first, I don't know if you can see that there, then your ring finger, then your middle finger, and then your thumb again. Okay, so to stretch your forearms, one thing, you always want to have your fingers pointing back at you. So here you start with palm down, your fingers pointing back at you. I consider this the eye of the elbow. So you want to make sure that that is pointing forward so that you can get a nice full stretch. If you feel like you need a little bit more, then you can lean back to give yourself even more tension there. To stretch the other side, you have the back of your hand down, your fingers pointed at you, and then here you turn the eye of the elbow forward again so that you get a nice big stretch in that area. And again, if you need more, you can lean back a little bit. Hi artists. So I've been getting some requests for jaw tension. And one of the things that we want to talk about is that the area of the jaw is very affected by the position of the neck and the upper back. So here you want to maybe start with some exercises to help bring your head back over your shoulders. So if you're giving yourself a double chin, by bringing your head back, then you'll be reversing the neck going forward. It's not that the position of the neck being forward is bad, it's that if you're in that position for a long period of time. So doing this will help counterbalance that. So you just keep your upper body still and pretend somebody's trying to give you a stinky kiss, and you bring your chin back. Double chin means you're doing it right, and it stretches out the back part of your neck and strengthens the front part. All right, artists, so for the actual jaw tension, if you place your hands underneath your cheekbone and between your jaw, so right here, and you bite down, you'll feel some muscles pop out onto your fingers. So if you place your fingers anywhere along the bottom part of that jaw and push up towards the ceiling while you let your jaw go down, you'll be able to stretch a lot of the muscles in that area. So you can basically put your fingers anywhere along this area here and find the strands of the muscle that are feeling tight for you. So you can push down and glide up at different speeds, different locations, and you'll be able to work on the muscle tension that you're having in your jaw.